It's a chilly morning here, but it's nice. It's nice. I'm up on one of my spots where I did the filming. I sang Jerusalem the other day. I'm there, so that's the view I can see if I looked this way around. I thought this might be useful. If you take me as an example of a son of a man, and as just a typical narcissistically conditioned human being from birth, and if you look back at some of the other videos, you can see hopefully how the conditioning to which I was subjected warped my mind at a young age and sent me off in directions which were damaging to me and ultimately very damaging to the society in which I lived. So that if you have so many people operating as I operated within a society, you just have parasites. Nobody is actually generating any energy. It's all parasitical. We're just Nile perch in Lake Tanganyika. We've eaten all the lovely fish. Now we're eating each other until we end up in a cannibalized cesspool, which is what we're actually swimming in at the moment. And so I want to hold myself as an example of what can be achieved if you can bring yourself to surrender to God. And that's doing the work. And what have you learned now? Because if you've really learned, the ultimate destination is for you to surrender to God. And for me, that meant I had such a personal relationship with God, requiring no interlocutors, that I was able to give myself to Him just so utterly to Him, deliver myself into His hand and let Him guide me through life. That moment of surrender was a moment of absolute serenity that I achieved on New Year's Eve. No, it was New Year's Day, 2024. It was the early morning. It was a midnight-ish, I'd say, when I went to bed. After I'd accepted the total surrender of myself to God, I accepted myself as the Acts 3:22-23 as a job description, and I accepted it. In my mind, I said to God, I accept that is me. That must be me. It fits so beautifully with everything I've done. And the fact that I've got this huge trail of videos behind me with all the information people need, that if you listen to what I tell you, you won't be separated from your people. So I said, that must be me. And that the catharsis I had from my sectioning, that all the anger from within me just vanished in hours of a ride of bliss that I was given as a gift to begin the new year of 2024. And since then, I've achieved so much. I've changed utterly. My voice has changed. It feels it comes from lower in my throat. And so when I sing, I'm singing from my throat now, and I can start to develop a proper singing voice that I've never had. Sometimes when I do it, it's so wonderful. My head and my body just vibrates, harmonizes with my banjo and my singing. I'm a feedback loop in myself. It's beautiful because the banjo nestles here against my belly. The shell of the banjo nestles here, so I feel the vibration of the banjo strings vibrating through my body, and then I sing to harmonize my resonance with this, and I get a single feedback loop. And so some of my most pleasurable musical moments have been just sitting quietly, just bashing stuff out on my banjo. Songwriting is coming to me. I'm writing really good songs. Poetry, I'm writing poetry that makes sense. It flows. To me, it's not for judgment by others. Oh, that's rubbish. I don't care. To me, it means everything. And to Louise, who's also a poet, we can express our love to each other through the language of poetry, as Shakespeare. And look at the sonnets that Shakespeare wrote to his patron. They're so loving. It almost feels like a really loving homosexual relationship, and it probably was. And why not? Why not? If you love someone and you feel the need to express it, and they feel the same and they want to express it, then you express it. In expressing it in such terms that whatever you do can only be loving, regardless of the gender of your chosen love. It's irrelevant. And so this idea that people define themselves by gay and straight is just a lie. You're both. Everyone is bisexual. The one thing, the taboo I broke, was sleeping with men and telling people about it. And so I did it. I like it and that kind of stuff. And when I introduced some people to my friend, my lover, we loved each other in a specific way. It was really beautiful. And he's an older guy. He's a funny little, he's just short, older, but he was so sweet, such a sweet man. You couldn't help but love him. And people just couldn't handle that. They couldn't handle it. Because the one thing blokes will never accept is that I'm not gay. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know you don't like gay sex? You've never done it. Well, they have done it. I guarantee I almost guarantee that every straight man has had some kind of homoerotic fantasy, even if they haven't enacted it. And it terrifies them so much that they're going to have to be labelled as something other than an alpha male, straight, heterosexual. It terrifies men. It terrifies us. And so that was a taboo I broke. And so by breaking it, I could then observe the effects of my behaviour on other people. I went, well, you're wrong. Because everything I was doing was based on my integrity and my love. And this idea of labelling things is what goes wrong. It's a crazy world, isn't it? Where just the name of something can destroy us. I'd been getting good on the videos in that I could often ramble, and I'd ramble from the point. And this one I have, because I can't remember how I started. That's the tricky bit. If I'm good, you can see I just insert back from where I started. And if I've lost the thread, I keep talking until I remember where I've gone. If I don't remember, then I stop. And so I'm stopping. Oh yeah, I remember. It's an example. There you go, see? Just at the right moment. So as an example to you, to the rest of humanity, that what can be achieved. Never think I couldn't do that. That love, I can't get that love. I can't write a song. I can't play a musical instrument. I can't express myself with poetry. I can't do any of these things. I just can't, and therefore I won't. I won't try it. I won't try because I might fail. I won't try because I might be observed to be wrong. I won't try because other people will think, ooh, yeah, they'll think something about me. And yet, in that one step of being based, that the children know, based and well lit by God, you are untouchable. Hey children, tell the adults this. Teach them. Based is everything. Don't give a fuck. My technique was to pretend not to give a fuck until I didn't. And a story I'll tell you that the people who were with me at the time will remember was we went to see The Cure in London, in Hyde Park. And for no reason at all, I wore a denim skirt. So I was dressed totally sort of normally, but I wore a denim skirt that I thought suited me, apart from I stand like a sweatbag, so I look ridiculous. I had to force myself to stand up straight all the time, because I saw a photograph of myself and I'm standing in this ridiculous position, so I look ridiculous. But nonetheless, do you know who the people I went with, who I didn't know them, I only knew my friend, and then his friends, nobody said a word. Yeah, one girl said, "Oh, pop that in your skirt, in your pocket." So saying that she'd identified I was wearing one, that was enough. It was amazingly liberating because it proved that no one cared what I wore. And I was quite nervous, but it quickly went away. And I went, well, I'm wearing a stupid thing, I look ridiculous. But then I had a brilliant night, and I got off with this guy who fancied, this young guy who really fancied me in this club, and it was just an incredible, it was a really, really great night. And I felt no shame about it at all, apart from I'd fondled him in public, and that was wrong. and at one point, right, we were really, really going for it in the corner of this club, and it was quite a nice place. It wasn't a gay place, and a hand came in and went. I don't know where it came from. It just tapped my hand like it. Don't do that. That's enough. The snogging is fine, but don't do. Oh yeah. That's how far I go with this stuff, in order to push myself to see who I am. So, that's a lesson. You can do this. The Son of Man, the Son of a Man, can become the Son of Man through teaching himself to become based and well lit by God. And in so doing, the consciousness that I now is so high that all the children in the world are experiencing my consciousness. And as I get higher and higher, so will you soon if you don't now. If you're hearing something in your head that talks about a king, for example, being a better system of governance than this nightmare of short-term pain and democracy of corruption, then that's a sealed topic idea. But if you're thinking, a king actually, a strong king who has all the power, will think long term. I mean, 200 years, I'll be thinking, I'm building something in Cymru, and if I get control of the whole of Great Britain, including Ireland and the sovereign states of Great Britain, that I'm not controlling them, but I'm the central value system for all the sovereign states of Great Britain. We all follow the same values, but we can have whatever we want inside our own country, provided it follows those values. And so that system would be brilliant in terms of you won't worry about anything, no more voting shit. You just do educating people so that the smartest people go to Parliament. So I have a really 600 Parliament Zoom meetings, right? They're all at home. We have our regular Zoom meetings. So you're my advisors, and we agree what we're going to do. But I decide. If I disagree with the entire Parliament, I'll still do it. Now, but that would be a risky move, because you've got to install the supermajority in the Constitution. The only little thing we need to add to our British Constitution, which is unwritten and will remain so, but we'll remove the Minister's Code, which is the highest written document that we have in our Constitution, that was broken by Johnson's government some time back, and nobody cared. And I went, oh well, that's the end of the law. If ministers can break the Minister's Code with impunity, and then the Prime Minister forms a square around the Pritzker, instead of saying, oh fuck, we've broken the law, we better sort it out, we are fucked. So replace the Minister's Code with a supermajority for the King. And you decide how many people in Parliament should vote for the King to fuck off, and he will fuck off. And I suggest it's high. I'd go for, I want 90%, but you must decide. The higher it is, the more risk, but also the risk is that you don't want to be changing kings all the time. You really don't. You want a single king raising a single family that's always that, because they're raised in the highest education and they're the best people to be there. And it's the values. The king holds the values. And so you're only going to get rid of the king if you hate his values, not him. He's the personhood. And so the king is absolutely minded to make sure that he maintains the love of his people through firm and just governance of the country, because he knows if he doesn't, he'll be gone. And I've already said that that's the end for me. If I was king and booted out, then I would say it's a beheading should be the punishment, and I would accept that. I would accept it. So that's why I think it should be high. I don't want to be 50, 48, 52. Let's execute the king. Fuck off. I'm not having that. I wouldn't take the job. So you would decide what that would be. So if I said Parliament. If I disagree with Parliament, 1 to 600, I'm at risk, aren't I? Whatever decision I've taken would be, I'm at risk of it has to be a good one. It has to be a reason for it. It can't be for my own benefit. It must be for the benefit of the country, otherwise I'm toast. There's a system of governance, and you're going to feel that in your minds, because I'm taking over the consciousness, and that's already happening. Cannot be stopped. Cannot be stopped now. So come with me. Pretend not to give a fuck. You find you won't. Become based, become well lit by God, surrender to him, and listen to his instructions and follow them. Self-police planet of excellence, all ahead of you. This is all stuff for you to think about when you're locked down and resting and sleeping. And I'm going to do another video about how to get through that as sweetly as possible and what to expect. Okay? Acts 3, 22, 23. It's a new story.